Hey y'all, happy Thursday. Let's get it started, okay? I'm not going to keep y'all up without a little small talk. I'm just going to get to it. We're going to start talking about the reason why I'm here this evening. When you come in, you already know what to do. Let me know where you're watching from, okay? But that's only if you are not scared. If you're scared, then you don't have to drop your city, your country, your hood, all of those good things, okay? And then what I want you to do is I want you to tag your people. Tag your people who you know should be here, who you know should be listening to this, okay? Because you know how they do. Girl, you ain't tell me nothing. I ain't know she was going live. And confession, I will say for this particular live, I didn't pre-schedule it, but y'all should know now. On Thursdays, y'all can expect me to be here, okay? I'm going to be here. Now, the time may change, and if the time do change, I am going to let you know that. But I just wanted to share with you my experience. Hey, Gwen, what's up? What's up? I wanted to share with you my experience because I think you learn as you hear other people talk about what they went through. Now, I will say this, just because it was my experience does not mean it's going to be your experience, okay? But I like to just let you know the things that are happening or that could happen, because when you travel, you have to have a lot of patience. If you agree, drop a 100. What's up, Crystal? You have to have a lot of patience. And a lot of times people get very bothered. What's up, Wayne? People get very bothered when things do not go as they plan, right? And then they be all in their feelings and they get upset. And my thinking is, why get upset when you're on vacation, right? You have already scheduled time off. You've already paid for this. You are expecting a good time. So do not get too caught up in your feelings when you be like, oh, well, and now you down and out, right? Life is too short, y'all, to be just being and stuff, right? Like, get out of that mess, okay? Get out of that mess. So what I want you to do, as Gwen is doing, she's tagging people. So thank you, Gwen, for tagging people, okay? And then we're going to have a conversation, because a lot of times when things happen, it's all about your attitude. Can you agree? You have to have a good attitude. If you do not have a good attitude, guess what? Baby, you will be upset, miserable on your vacation. And I don't know about you, but listen, when I'm on vacation, I'm not trying to be miserable. I'm not trying to be upset. I'm not trying to be frustrated. I'm not trying to be none of those things that are negative. I'm trying to be positive, be happy, be relaxing, tranquil, right? I'm trying to soak it all in. Because again, I don't know about you, but life be lifing, right? You already have your own set of things that you go through in your home from, right? That could be your job. Listen, I know some people love their job. I'm thankful and blessed for mine. But it could be an overbearing manager. It could be a nagging coworker or colleague, okay? Somebody who's not carrying their weight and you have to always pick up their slack, do their work, or somebody who's always calling in, you're having to cover for them. Or it could be y'all just short-staffed, right? And you being overworked. It can anybody relate? Because maybe, maybe it's just the jobs I've worked at, right? Where you got some people who you work with, some people who you deal with, and you like, Lord have mercy, how do this person still got their job, right? And you carrying your load and they load, and you looking at your paycheck and you like, hold on, the paycheck is not paychecking. Like, I need to get some of their salary. Maybe it's just me, okay? Maybe I'm just talking to myself. But I said all that to say, when you go on vacation, you want to leave all that behind. So you don't want to be thinking about what's going on, right? Or maybe you ain't working. Maybe you in school, okay? Maybe you in college, okay? Maybe you in tech school, trade school, you studying a different trade or something other. And maybe, the course is rigorous, it's challenging, right? You just cannot grasp the concept. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know for me, it was physics. Oh my goodness, y'all, I did not like physics. Listen, I know we got some math and some science geniuses in the building, baby, but physics was not the subject for me. You hear me? Y'all, I did not like that subject, okay? So maybe it's a demanding class. Maybe it's a demanding professor, okay? Somebody who's always riding you, okay? Maybe let's go to the home front, okay? Maybe it's in your house, okay? Maybe it's a kid who ain't, doing what they're supposed to be doing. Maybe they behind on their studies. Maybe they can't get right. Okay. So they acting up at school. Okay. It's all, it could be something. Okay. Or it could be health challenges. You know what I'm saying? Medical challenges. Like maybe, you know what I'm saying, you went to the doctor and the doctor's like, look, you need to like lay off the fork, the drinks, the sugar or something because your weight, right? So each of us deal with certain things in our life. And because of that, you need to escape and you need to go on vacation, okay? You need to have a mental escape. You need to go in a different setting, in a different place, so that you don't have to think about the home, the job, all the things that's going on, right? So that's why I always recommend that you take a vacation. So as y'all know, I recently was in Colombia. I am now back stateside, praise God. But let me tell you about my experience, okay? And I will say, just because I had this experience does not mean you will have this experience, right? Now, first thing I would say is I flew out of Dallas, okay? So if you know anything about the airline industry, you have hubs, right? So where are my Atlanta people at? If my Atlanta people is on, can you please let me know what your hub is in Atlanta, right? Okay. Dallas people, our hub is what? American Airlines and also Southwest, right? So because of that, we have a lot of flights going out of here throughout the whole entire day. So what does that mean? If you miss a flight, if your flight is delayed, more than likely you can catch another flight that same day because it's that many flights that is coming and going. So because of this, we flew to Colombia on American Airlines. Now we had a layover in Miami, okay? So we had a layover in Miami, and then from Miami, which involved a plane change, okay? So we had to stay in Miami. We stayed in Miami for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then we had to get on a different plane, and then we arrived in Colombia. So if you have traveled out of the States, what happens when you go to certain countries, right? You do not have the conveniences of you arriving to an Atlanta airport, a Dallas airport, a LA airport, a New York airport, and you can kind of just pull on up and you get to walk through the breezeway. No. You are unloading in the middle, right? In the middle of the jetway, right? So they pull up the stairs for you, you get your bags, and you go down these descending stairs, okay? And then you take a little walk until you make it to the airport. And then when you make it to the airport, there is the lines. Now, the time that we arrived was a little bit after 2 p.m. And we arrived on Wednesday. And there were several other planes that arrived at the same time. And it's a small airport. CTG, Cartagena, is a small airport. So what does that mean? There's going to be a waiting period. Now, I don't know about you. Some people are okay waiting, okay? Well, our wait, can you guess how long we had to wait? Before I even spill the tea, can you guess in the chat, drop how long did you think we had to wait from the time we got off that plane and we stood in the line? How long did we have to wait? Let me know. Let me see your answers. And if you travel to Jamaica, if you travel to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, like the airports are that size, right? They're small, right? So they're not like your mega airports such as ATL, Hartsfield Jackson, Dallas Fort Worth. You know what I'm saying? They're not big like that, right? Okay, so somebody said 2 hours was the wait. It was longer than that. It was longer than that. Now, one thing that you had to do when you arrived in Colombia was you had to fill out a form, which most countries require you to do that. When you travel to the Dominican Republic, they require you to do that. When you travel to Jamaica, they require you to do that. Almost countries do it. Now, you can either do it online digitally, right? Or you can do it paper-based. For Colombia, you had to do it online, right? And then once you fill out your information, what happens? They give you a digital code. They email you. You can download it or you can go to your email. You can access it. You need that code, right? So this is why planning is so important, because if you don't know, you'll show up in Cartagena, you're thinking like, oh my goodness, I am ready to, have my best life. And then you don't know you got to complete this form. Now you're looking all crazy and you're like, what form? What are you talking about? Right? So when you do travel, make sure you do your research and you know what all the required documentation is and that you complete it, so it does not hold up the process, because there's people that's waiting. So in Colombia, we waited for a very long time, and I still do not see the number yet. So y'all can keep on guessing in the chat. Remember, when you come in, let me know where you're watching from, okay? And during our time waiting, we saw a lot of stuff. What do I mean by a lot of stuff, y'all? So there were security guys there that were basically helping with the line movement, line management, you can say, right? Well, I saw certain people being able to skip and go ahead. Okay. Now, y'all can do your own assumptions or guessing about, what you might have thought happened. Okay. We are intelligent people here. Okay. Somebody is here from Dallas, Texas. What's up, Dallas, Texas? Okay, but what happened was it was happening so regular, so frequently, that the passengers who were waiting was like, hold on. How is so-and-so who was behind me now ahead of me, and I'm still waiting this long line? Now, I don't know about you, but you know how we can get when we get aggravated, when we've been standing for a long time. Of course, you know what I'm saying? It's a little hot, okay? And you're standing and you're wanting to get ready to go to your vacation so you can enjoy yourself, okay? And you seeing other people skip you. Well, some people get a little mad. They get a little frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Well, they start questioning the security guys. It was like, hey, what's going on? How come this person was here and I was before them? And then, of course, you in another country. And if you are not familiar with conversing in the language, which is Spanish, you know what I'm saying? You trying to communicate. They looking at you like, huh? What? What are you talking about? Like, huh? What? You know? So one girl, she was able to speak Spanish, and I heard her say, I heard her tell her partner, I'm going to ask for the supervisor. Now, a supervisor never did come over there, right? But a lot of this was going on, right? But needless to say, I remained in line. I started reading a book. I started doing little exercises. I was trying to make the best of my time. Why? Okay, you might be asking, girl, why you was doing all of that? Well, this is the thing. I could either become disgruntled, upset, mad. I could have had attitude. I could have became short temper. I could have did whatever I want. I could have snapped. I could have, got out of character. But why? What was that going to solve? Tell me. What was that going to solve? So because of that, when I'm in situations, I always try to think, watch your temper. Watch your temperament. Watch how you respond and how you act, because listen, people are looking and people are listening. And the thing is, it's the right thing. It's a right way to do things and it's a wrong way to do things. And I always try to do things the right way. Now, I'm human. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I slip, okay? But for the most part, I try to go by treat others as I want to be treated, okay? So by the time we made it to the top, y'all, and by the time they took our passports and they identified us and they got the little code, it was 3 hours. 180 minutes. Meantime, we got a personal driver, right? So we got a personal driver who is communicating with me via WhatsApp and is asking for our status. And, I took little pictures and videos and I created a reel so that you can see what I'm saying, because I'm a visual person. And I was letting him know, like, hey, you can, go do something. You can, come back, spin a block, go get you something to eat. But this line is long and I know we're going to be here for a minute. And that's what I did. I just waited. Me and my husband, we just waited until it was time for us to go. So when we finally left, I did I did a picture, because I was so freaking happy. Okay. I was so freaking happy that I made it. Then we get there. The guy pulled up momentarily in the car, and then we were escorted to our resort. So where we stayed in Cartagena, we stayed at Dreams Caribana Golf and Resort. I think that's the name of it. Let me make sure that I'm saying it correctly. Because matter of fact, they just sent me a survey asking me for my feedback, right? Okay, how did you enjoy it? Yada, yada, yada. And all these things. So the survey, Dreams Caribana Cartagena Golf and Spa Resort. That is the name of the resort, that we stayed in. So it was an all-inclusive. Okay. So you know what all-inclusive involves. Okay. So let me update you. So all-inclusive means that your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, your snacks, your non-alcoholic beverages, and your alcoholic beverages are covered. right? They had a coffee shop on site that served all different variations of coffee. So macchiatos, mochacinos, espressos. It also had a gelato station. So if you wanted to eat gelato, you could. It also had a dessert area where you can eat the different desserts, right? So they had carrot cake, they had mousse, they had chocolate eclairs, they had croissants, all different types of pastries, right? A very nice setup, okay? Then, of course, they had your normal buffets that you can expect at an all-inclusive, right? So for your breakfast time, you had the typical things. So you had your fruit, you had your meat, so like your pork bacon, your pork sausages. You had all kind of fruit. I'm a big fruit person, so I was able to eat fresh watermelon daily, cantaloupe, guava, grapes, cherry plums. They had different type of cheeses, different types of meat. And then of course, one thing that I found about all inclusive, they always throw in some lunch stuff in there, right? if you feel me, say yes. Like it's always some lunch stuff. Like it's breakfast time and they'll throw in some chicken or some rice or just something that does not seem breakfast type to me, but in all inclusive, I noticed they do that. They had an omelet station as well. And then also too, for lunch, you came back to that place. They had an assortment of different things that you can choose from. They also had another restaurant, which was a seaside grill. It served an array of food from steak to chicken to shrimp, all of that stuff. It had a Italian restaurant, which we did not try. I looked at the reviews. The reviews were very mixed, and they were more so leaning towards the bad side. So I was like, you know what? I trust the people. I'm not even going to try it. So I did not try that. They also had a restaurant that was off-site. So they had another area to this resort that was maybe like a 5-minute walk. And this was more seafood based. It had a pool there. It was right there on the beach. It had 2 different bars. The vibe was different. Very nice. So we ate there one night, but the serving size for their dishes were very small. I mean, petite. I mean, they came out there with that food. We like, excuse me, like who's supposed to be eating this? Like, is this for a baby, a toddler? But the food was good. So that was the resort. Okay. It had a full spa. Okay. So on the day of my birthday, y'all saw that I did the spa. It was excellent. Okay. They had a golf course there. So if you are into playing golf or your husband or your spouse is into playing golf, a wonderful area to stay. They had bikes where they took you out in the morning time and in the evening time. If you wanted to work out, they had a full gym and the gym was full. I mean, like a full gym with like ellipticals, treadmills, cycles, bikes, weights, like bench press. I mean, everything. They had a station where you can go in there and do Pilates. You can do yoga. I mean, the gym was very impressive. The property was well taken care of, pristine lawn conditions. The cleanliness, for the most part, I would say was like an 8.5 over 10. Few minor things, right? Like, you know, the floor we was at, which was level 2, I noticed a stain on the carpet. Maybe somebody had spilled something there that was red. But other than that, it was very good. 24-hour room service, which was included. So let's say if you didn't feel like going out of your room, let's say if you didn't feel like doing, you know, some days you just want to chill in your room, right? You just want to relax, right? You just want to watch TV, listen to music, read a book, you know, enjoy some time on the patio or do whatever you're doing in your room, right? Well, they had full service, full room service. Now, the room service menu was not like something like that was like so robust, you know what I'm saying? But it had, you know what I'm saying, a good, okay bit of items, right? Like I said, it just depends on what you're looking for. They had one bar right there at the lobby, which was the main bar. The other bar was near the pool. This bar was located on the premium side. So at this resort, if you played extra, you had what they call premium access. So premium access give you a little different things. So like you get the premium, the top tier liquors. You have access to an additional pool, to an additional plunge pool. You get other extra perks and benefits as well. So it's basically like an upgrade, right? Where you get different things that the other guests do not have privilege to. So they had this at this resort. This resort also too was very family friendly. So I saw children there. They had activities for the children. They had a children's club that took care of the kids. And then at nighttime, they would put on like what it's called, like Xbox Live or PlayStation, and they would do like the dance, whatever that game is. Very good. They were very good with the kids. They were interacting with the kids. The kids really enjoyed themselves. So overall, it was a good resort. Would I stay there again? Possibly. But Cartagena is full of so much of culture and things to do in the wall city where everything is at. So this is where you have your cafes, you have your arts, you have, you know what I'm saying, your shopping. Is so much things there that the next time that I go, I will be staying in that area. And on that note, let me drop the link for the Cartagena sign up so that once I release the trip, you'll be the first to get on the list so that you'll know when it'll actually be released. And let me get you the link. We don't have that many people on tonight. Where is everybody at? Where is everybody at? Cartagena. This is so long. Okay, so if you click that link will take you to the sign up page. And on the sign up page, you can actually put your information so that you'll know when the trip is released. I'm going to change that link so it's shorter because it is so long and I hate long links. I really, really do. So I'm going to go and change that and fix that later on so the link can be shorter. But if you want to go to Cartagena, we'll be doing a trip there next year. It'll be in June, and the number of people that we'll be taking at max will be 12. Okay, so we'll be taking 12 people to Cartagena next year in June. So if you want to be in the number, definitely make sure you sign up using that link that I just dropped on this in the live. Okay, so leaving Cartagena. So when we left Cartagena, we made it to the airport 2 hours and 45 minutes prior to departure. So as you know, when you are traveling internationally, it is suggested, it's recommended that you arrive 3 hours prior to departure, right? Now, in some places, that number can change. That number can increase or that number can decrease. It depends on the airport. So again, make sure you do your research so that you know. Well, for Cartagena, I knew that we needed to be near the 3 hour mark because, again, our experience getting in the country was not smooth sailing. So we made it there, and check this out, y'all. Y'all know I cracked so many jokes about which airline. Which airline did I crack so many jokes about? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, okay? If you was on my live earlier in the year when I came back from Jamaica, I actually flew this airline and I had an horrific experience and I talked about them. Well, let me tell you this. If I would have flew them this time, baby, I would have been in. Yes, Gwen. I would have been in front of that gate in no time because literally there were no customers Zero customers waiting in that line. When people did come up there, they were able to get checked in so easily. I've never saw a Spirit line move so fast. Never. Okay. It moved like this. On the other hand, who did I fly? Who did I fly? Okay. Let me know in the chat. I want to make sure y'all paying attention. Who did I fly? A well-known airline distributor that should have their stuff together, that should have been smooth sailing. But one thing too, when you travel to another country, you have to realize that everybody moves on their own time schedule, right? So you know how sometimes you go places and you can tell the worker is actively working and they are trying to get to the next customer as fast as possible, right? Maybe they have some type of metrics that they are trying to work by, and they know that people gets irritated if they got to sit and wait for a long time. Honey, these people here at American Airlines, baby, they were moving on island time. Literally island time. Island time. Like they didn't have a care or worry or concern. Okay. Well, the prior day, what happened was the same flight that we were scheduled on that Tuesday, it was canceled. So the whole entire flight from the prior day was canceled. So you had these people at the airport because they were flying out now 20 minutes later with us, going to Miami as well, but on a different flight. So they came in there, okay, they disgruntled, they mad, they upset. I saw one gentleman, he came up and he was mad because he said he had been stuck there for 2 days, right? And meanwhile, the other airlines, Avianca, my first time ever hearing about them, never heard of that airline. Avianca, no issues. LATAM, LATAM, is also like an affiliate of Delta, no issues. Spirit, no issues. American, the longest line, right? So when I was looking at the line, I was just like, we are going to miss our flight. But before I say things like that, I be careful, right? Because, you know, when you put stuff out in the atmosphere and you say things, it becomes that, right? So I don't try to say things like that because I'm like, look, I mean, I like Cartagena and stuff, but I'm not going to say we ain't going to miss our flight. So what we did was we made sure we did everything. So I noticed that there were kiosks that nobody were using. So I went over there, entered our air record locator, got our our baggage claims printed, did all of that, right? We got our, so we got our baggage claims, put that on our luggage, did all of that. We was trying to be helpful. We get to the counter and the guy was like, because we took off the little labels and put it on the suitcase, that he had to redo our things. Now, by the time we make it to the front of the line, we was probably in that line, I don't know, I would say maybe like an hour and a half before we actually made it to the counter. Then they start saying, okay, whoever is flying American Airlines, we're going to let y'all go so that y'all can make your flight. Well, we still had to go through the other line for passport control, where we had to show our exit entry codes, because you have to fill out another form exiting the country. And we was in that line for a long time. Meanwhile, they were taking some people on the American Airline flight that we were on, and they were giving them expedited entry. So they were able to skip the line and go through like this. Whereas me and other customers, we were not given that ability. So of course, this caused some frustration and some chaos, because we trying to figure out like, okay, why is they able to go, but we not, we on the same flight. Needless to say, by the time we make it in passport control, we had to wait at another stop point where it was more waiting. And at this point, our flight was already boarding. So our flight was scheduled to board at 12:44 p.m. We were scheduled to depart at 1:21, I want to say 1:21 or 1:31 p.m. So we finally made it. And by the time we made it, we had to run. Now, one thing about small airports, one benefit is when you get past all of that, you there. So it's not like you in a Hartsfield Jackson where you got to go a very, very long time, right? You don't got to, jump on a train. You don't got to jump, it was right there. So we made it there. They still had the gate open. Now, one thing too to be mindful of, every airline has a different policy. So if you are running late for your flight and you're trying to determine, is it even worth it? Is it even worth me doing all of this hassle trying to get to the gate? Will they let me in? Make sure you know the rules. So for an example, because I often fly Southwest, I assume that Southwest policy was the same for American. It's not. So with Southwest, they will not allow you to board 10 minutes prior to departure. So if your flight leaves at 1 p.m. and if you're not there by 12:50 p.m., then they will deny you entry. So in my mind, I was thinking that they had the same rule. American did. Well, Americans was 15 minutes. So you had to be there a little bit earlier. So if you are not there 15 minutes, then they can't deny you entry. And some people be like, but the plane is still out there. Listen, y'all, they do not care that the plane is still out there. That is their policy. They will not open those doors unless something else happens. So even if the plane has not departed yet, they've already did all their safety checklists and all these things that they have to do. They is not going to let you in the plane. So when you are running late or you trying to figure out, like, is it worth it? Make sure you know what the airline policy is for. So for Southwest, it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes, you will be able to get on. For American, it's 15 minutes. So no, if you fly Delta, know what the Delta policy is, okay? If you fly Spirit or Frontier, know what the policy is. If you fly Alaskan, JetBlue, it's so many airlines out here, y'all. Know what the policy is if you are running late. Now, the people who flight was canceled the previous day, what happens when your flight is canceled? Well, most airlines will give you something. I said most. I didn't say all. So again, that's why you have to be careful who you're flying with. If you paying for your own hotel expense, your food, and you don't care about that, well then pick an airline who is not going to pay for that. American did give them hotel vouchers as well as food vouchers where they're covered their one night stay at the Radisson Hotel, and then they gave them a meal ticket as well. Right now, you got to think, when you've missed the flight, there's other things that you got to be mindful of. Okay, let's say if you are returning to work the next day, which me and my husband was, right? Then that's a day of PTO. Right? That's 8 hours of leave or 10 hours or 12-hour leave, depending on what your shift is. Okay. Let's say if you don't have PTO and you didn't schedule for that day. So I recommend that when you are traveling, give yourself an extra day, just in case if you do encounter something like this. It's not like, man, I got to call out to my job. I got to take a day of leave. I got to do all of this. So give yourself a day where you don't have to worry about it. In the event that if your flight is canceled or postponed, you're not having to worry about, okay, what am I gonna tell my job? Okay. So that was one thing that I learned. Again, when you are traveling to a different destination, try to learn a little bit of the culture. It was a lot of time I had to use my Google Translate app because I didn't know what they were saying, but I knew what I was trying to tell them. So I was able to use my app and they was able to read and they was able to provide a response. But if I knew more of the language, it would have been easier for me to communicate. So when you are going in countries or regions that have mostly, whatever the native tongue is, try to learn a few phrases where you can communicate and know the responses as well so that you know what they're saying, right? Or have somebody who is with you who communicate in Spanish. Now, so we had another couple who we had met at the airport. They were actually on our same flight. So they were kind of communicating on our behalf, saying, hey, all of us is on the same flight. We're trying to get to Miami. We were at the airline on time, blah, 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 and all these things. Okay. And then, like I said, pack patience. Do not be up there being mad, being rude, being disgruntled in your feelings, having an attitude, being discourteous, being disrespectful. Like, that is not going to help anything. Document. If you do encounter somebody who is nasty, who is unprofessional, who is not exhibiting good customer service, just document their name, try to get their title. Remember the date, the time, what happened, the context, right? And then write corporate. Okay, right, corporate, right? But you getting on their level, it's not going to help, right? Then both of y'all gonna be mad. And what does that solve? It doesn't solve anything. Have snacks. Oh my goodness. This is a big one. And I'm usually the person that carries a whole bunch of snacks. Okay. I'm that person that I'm supposed to have some snacks in my purse, in my carry-on, because sometimes when you are just trying to get to your next destination, a lot of times you don't have time to eat at the airport. So you might not have time to stop at that restaurant, stop at that store, but you know, your blood sugar levels are getting low, which means that now you're getting hangry, right? Hungry and angry. You are, your temper is not right. So make sure you have some snacks just in case if you need to fuel your body up, you can, and you're not like just like hungry, you know what I'm saying? So just make sure you carry some snacks with you, because even when we made it to Miami, so we get on the plane, y'all. We did all of that to get on the plane. Okay, we do all that to get on the plane in Cartagena, and then they tell us there is mechanical issues, and that it was going to take 15 minutes to resolve. Well, 15 minutes turned into 35 minutes. 35 minutes turned into 45 minutes. 45 minutes turned to an hour and 15 minutes. We didn't depart until an hour and 15 minutes later. So what does that mean? That means that we did not land in Miami until later, which means that we were already behind schedule, which means when we were in Miami, we had to get up and we had to really, really get through. And of course, when you come back stateside, right, because you did not go through customs. Like in some countries, when you exit, you go through your U.S. customs. And you don't have to worry about going through customs when you get back, right? Like, so for example, Aruba is one of those places. Colombia is not one of those places. So when we made it to Miami, we had to go through passport control. Now I have global entry. So with global entry, guess what happens? I don't have to stand in the general line. I get to do a little, you know what I'm saying, segue, go to a different area, go from the kiosk, it scans my face, and then I wait in line and boom, 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 right? Now my husband had to do general, and that line thankfully was not that long. But after we got through that line, then we had to go downstairs and we had to wait on our luggage, okay? Once we waited on our luggage, then we had to get our luggage, recheck our luggage, and then make it to the next gate, okay? Again, this is the Miami airport. Now, Miami airport is not super large like an Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson, or like a LAX, but it still is a pretty good size. The gate was on the very entire side. So what we had to do, run. Okay, so we make it to the line in Miami just in time, and there was people ahead of us, and there was a little store right there. So what I did, I was like, okay, honey, I'm about to go over here and get us something, because at this point I needed some water, okay, because I hadn't ran, baby, I was out of breath, okay, and I wanted something else to snack on besides these darn Biscoff cookies, okay, and my little energy bars. So I got us each a bag of chips. Don't judge me, judge your mama, okay? And then I got us a big, like I had the big bottle of Smart Water, and then Wilson had like a bottle like this of water. And we did that. So that was my experience, y'all. So coming into Colombia, 3 hours wait. Getting out of Colombia, 2 hour and 45 minutes wait. Getting into Miami, having to run to our gate. Okay. Now, my best friend and her husband, they didn't have this experience. They left Atlanta airport. They flew Delta. From Delta, they went to Bogota. Then they jumped on LATAM, LATAM, because I could be mispronouncing that word. And then they went through their customs there, which was very easy and simple. Then they came to Cartagena and they had no issues. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. When they left, same thing, no issues. So for us, I'm going to say it was the airlines. So American is very busy in Colombia. So if you are flying American, you want to get there in enough time. The next thing I'm going to say is the day and the time, right? Some airports are very busy on certain days and times. So when you are doing your research, just look and see, you know, is there a lot of flights that's come in on this day? Okay. Because if it's a lot of airlines coming in all at once, then guess what? For a small airport, it's going to be congested. It's going to be crowded. It's going to be chaotic, all those things. So you have to pack extra patience. So hopefully my experience will be helpful to you. And again, if you want to join us on our next adventure to Colombia, make sure you get on our waiting list. I dropped the link earlier today in the chat. And if you have any other questions about Colombia, as always, you can drop them here in the chat. I'll be more than willing to answer your questions. I know this has been a little bit lengthy, but I just wanted to give you my full experience so that you know. Now, in another video, you can go back. I told you what I did in Colombia. I didn't want to share that because I had already shared that with you. So if you wanted to know like the activities I did each day, I did a whole video outlining everything that I did. Okay. So again, that is my time. I am Zandra Sexton Holmes, the epic owner of Explore Blue Travel, the host of the Blue Squad Travel Group. And I book epic experiences for busy women who do not have the time nor energy to plan their own amazing getaway. And we do this by hosting international and domestic group trips consistent of like-minded individuals where the only thing you have to do is just show up. You don't have to do no planning. You don't have to do no figuring out, no research, like all the things that I'm telling you to do. In our trips, we do everything for you. Only thing you have to do is pack your bags and show up. And it's that easy. And we have a very, very good time. So I will be back on next Thursday, which is April the 4th, I want to say. It is April the 4th. Okay. So meet me here April the 4th at 7 p.m. And in the meantime, remember, life is short. Smile, have a good time, go travel, and live your life because life is very short and you don't know. So that is my time, and I will talk to you until next time. Bye.